Okay, in this video, we're going to go through how to create a sales order in QuickBooks. So sales orders are unique to QuickBooks Desktop. They are not in QBO. Basically, what they're used for is they're used for the fulfillment piece, right? So as we talked about in our other videos here, an estimate is a quote telling a customer how much it's going to cost. A sales order is the customer is moving forward and ready for you to do whatever needs to be done, right? Ship out the product, whatever it is. So when would we ever not use quotes and just use sales orders? So if we don't need to quote the customer, right? If we don't need to give the customer an estimate. So if your customers have a price list that's standard, right? That you send out once a year or something like that. If your customers buy online and we're just using QuickBooks to fill the orders, that's another time. We don't need the quote, right? The customer's already purchased and all we're doing is doing the fulfillment piece. Okay, so sales orders are very important if you're doing inventory tracking. We do have a demo of QuickBooks Enterprise that if you haven't watched, it's a free demo. That if you want to watch it, we have that on our website. Definitely something to watch to understand the entire workflow and why sales orders are so important in your workflow. But in here, what we're going to talk about is creating a sales order and the effect it has in the rest of your company file. Okay. So a sales order is a non-posting transaction, does not affect your accounting at all, right? You save it. None of your numbers are going to change on your financials. Okay. But the numbers that will change are around your inventory parts or your assembly parts. So if I come in here and I add, customer, I'm going to come down below here. Now we do have find and select on sales orders, which is really nice. So if you don't know, I didn't want to add something that was brass. Oh, we have a lot of brass. Okay. Then I can search within brass and say it's glass. Okay. There's fewer. I want to search inside those results to show, finish. There's fewer, right? So you can use that find and select to narrow down your items if your items list is really long. Obviously, if your items list is really long, it may take a little bit longer to search than what I just did. But you also have the ability now that we're in 2017 to use, right? So I can start typing wire. So any word that's in the item name, I can start typing that word and it'll pull up for me. The majority of our clients that are in, wholesale, they're using find and select. It's just it's a more inclusive search, right? So on the sales order here, I can select an item. Okay, again, it's most effective when it comes to inventory parts. If you are not using inventory inside of QuickBooks, maybe give us a call for why you're considering using a sales order before turning them on. Otherwise, generally just estimates are fine. So I have on here 5029 and before I hit save, right, I have 73 of these parts on hand. So I got there by just clicking this little graph next to the item there. So 73 on hand. Then what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and save this transaction. So again, a sales order does not affect quantity on hand, but it does affect quantity available for sale. Because now I have one on a sales order, so I only have 72 now available for sale, right? And it also drives demand for product. So I'm going to go ahead and put on here that I have 100 of these and say save. Now it's going to give me a warning, right? I don't have 100 to sell, okay? And all these warnings pop up. Now if I have, so let's go take a look at this item, right, on our items list. If I have a reorder point on this item, then what it's also going to do, this sales order is going to do, not only is it going to tell me the warnings, right? You don't have enough to sell of this product. Whoops, it must not have picked it up. So not only does it give me all these warnings, it doesn't have enough to sell this product, right? But it will, in Enterprise, it will come in and when I look at my stock status by item report here, I can use my quantity available to reorder. And so it's going to tell me I need to reorder this product based on what's on a sales order, right? So it drives demand for that product to be reordered as well. That's what a sales order does. So you don't want your sales orders to be out there, sitting out there a long time, right? You don't want to use a sales order as a quote because a customer may not be moving forward. A sales order is really meant to be a customer wants to move forward with this, and then therefore it drives demand for us to fulfill this order and make sure we have enough quantity on hand to fulfill this order. In the manufacturing world, it of course would drive the demand for us to manufacture more of those parts as well. Okay. Now, a sales order also has a different functionality. So once I have it created in here, right, it's just going to sit in there outstanding until I decide to fulfill it, or I decide to close it, right? I can close it out at some point as well if I'm not going to fill this order anymore. It'll also keep track. So if you do any partial shipments, QuickBooks doesn't have like a back order feature in the program. But what it does have is that this sales order will remain open until you mark it closed or until the entire 100 have been fulfilled and shipped out, right? Also, a sales order feature has what's called a sales order fulfillment. So the sales order fulfillment, which is up here under customers, if you do not see it up here, it's because you don't have the right edition of QuickBooks loaded, like the accountant edition doesn't have it anymore. So sales order fulfillment worksheet, or it has it loaded, it just doesn't have it loaded where you can see it under customers there. Okay, so sales order fulfillment worksheet, what this is going to do for you is it's going to show you, right, which sales orders can be fulfilled based on your quantity on hand. And you have a couple of options over here where you can say, you know, sales order chosen for fulfillment first, sales orders by date, right? So how do you want to sort these sales orders basically? And essentially you can just go down the row and decide. So on this one, it can be partially filled. So you can decide if you want to fulfill some quantities of these. On this one, as an example, it can't be filled at all because we have 0 of these on hand. And then hopefully you have a couple that are green that you can fully fulfill. Come in here, print out your packing list and your pick ticket from here. Okay. So sales order fulfillment also does, or sales orders also, you know, lead you towards that sales order fulfillment area. So again, to recap, we want to use sales orders if we're going to be fulfilling anything. If we want it to drive demand for product, that's when it's really important. Anytime you're dealing with any inventory in QuickBooks, period, whether you use QBO right now, you should really consider looking at QuickBooks Desktop for that sales order feature because that is super important in fulfillment. Okay, that's how we create a sales order.